Welcome back to another episode of Rob and Avis Ramble. And we have a guest today, Avis, that I think some people are probably going to be surprised to see that we have on the podcast because we maybe see some things a little bit differently here and there. But hey, we're always down for good discussion and get other points of view. So I'm kind of excited about it. I think it's going to be a fun conversation. So welcome, Diane, Miss Diane Yap. How are you?
Hi, really nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. And I appreciate you coming on. And I have a feeling we're probably going to be laughing a lot on this podcast. I don't know, but that's what my mind is telling me here.
It's a good bet.
Good bet. Yeah. So maybe a good place to start, Diane, tell us, so we know of you of X. I don't know if you're on other platforms or not. I just know you from X. We've had a little bit of banter here and there, but really we probably haven't had a ton of banter. Not as much as I see you and some other people having here and there.
Yeah, I am mildly on other platforms, but not really. Like X is where I do most of my public shit posting, versus
Gotcha.
Private family updates and stuff. So yeah, X is where you'll find me and my hot takes or whatever.
Yeah, all your hot takes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of leads me. I mean, what is your purpose of being on X? Just a shit post or
Well, a long time ago, I think I got on X and during maybe around the pandemic or maybe a couple of years after the pandemic, but there were just issues in San Francisco around crime and meritocracy in schools, and I used to post a lot about that kind of stuff, but somehow I fell in with the relationship posting crowd, and I don't know, it's been kind of interesting. So I think that what happens is what I post is a lot of responses to whatever happens in my replies, and then obviously that snowballs, and then that makes the algorithm decide to serve me more of the same kind of stuff. So for now, that's where I seem to have gotten stuck. For a long time, I was fighting against people who just did not understand the concept of per capita, and I gave up. I was like, it's never going to happen. Needing to normalize when populations are different sizes is just not something they're not going to be able to get that through their heads, whether because they're not that smart or because they have ideological beliefs that just won't let that enter their brain. So I gave up.
Knowing when to give up, that's important still.
Yeah, that's it's funny. So most of your algorithm is just feeding you relationship stuff.
Yeah. And honestly, I do believe that is one of the most important things in most people's lives, whether they want to admit it or not. I think we are social organisms that are built for human connection, and you can have all the wealth and success and all of those measures you can max out on and still feel really hollow and empty. For example, the guy who owns X, recently posted something money doesn't buy happiness. He's the wealthiest man in the world, and I think it was maybe over the holidays or just a really rough time if you don't have a lot of people you love close to you. He posted something very sad, I believe it was money doesn't buy happiness, and I guess he would know.
Yeah. That's right. If there's anybody
if it could, he would be able to buy it.
Yeah, probably believe that man if he says it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think relationships are, at the end of the day, it's what it's all about, right? We're all born, we're all gonna die. What are you doing in the middle is, if you don't have good relationships in your life, what was it really worth? What was what'd you get out of it? So I think we agree on that.
Yeah, totally.
So let me ask you this question. How much of what you post, I mean, is this really just shit posting and you're like, I do believe this, I don't believe this, or a lot of these things that you actually do, this is how you see it?
I think a lot of the things that I post and people think imply things about me personally. Everyone's always accusing me of being asexual, or they think that I'm autistic or whatever. And I don't think that's true. At least I've never been diagnosed with any of these things. So, I think a lot of what I post may be sort of reactionary, right? So it might be strongly worded, or it might be kind of inflammatory, but it's often because I'm responding to something that I feel is just beyond the pale. You know, I
Gotcha.
just, just guys who are like, oh, what is the point of marriage if not for the sex? If that's the only point of getting married, why would I deal with women otherwise? That kind of thing.
Yeah. Good. You and I can have a great conversation on this. It'll be fun. Well, all right. So maybe kind of like wading into this conversation on that. So what do you say about what is the nature of female desire? I mean, what is it? How do men perceive it different than what you think it actually is, or do you think men are perceiving it correctly?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times men are just they're just projecting like the way that their own desire works onto women, and I'm sure that women do that a lot for men too. But there are just a lot of differences. Like I think for most men, there isn't really a don't want to have sex. There's not, that's rare maybe, like if you're offering a man sexual relations and you're decently attractive to him, no doesn't really cross his mind. Like if he were to say no, that would probably say something really bad about what he thinks of that woman or how he feels about that woman, right? And I honestly just don't think that it works that way for most women. Like a woman can be deeply, madly in love with her husband and just in the moment not feel like having any sex. Like she could be extremely tired and know that she just can't get turned on to the degree where it would feel good. Or, she could have a lot of other things just piled on her plate and she's exhausted and she's just not, it's just not the priority or whatever. I think it just works completely differently for the average man versus the average woman.
Yeah, I don't know if this is just a tough topic for me because Avis and I, we've been together since high school prom. We've been together 34 years, so a long time, right? But like this has never really been a thing in our relationship, just in terms of, I mean, Avis, I would agree with you. I mean, I think there are times that women obviously are more turned on sexually than they are other times, right? Like, I mean, in hormones, you can't rule that out.
Yeah.
When woman's ovulating, that's more of a sexual time of the month for her, right? But, just my experience with Avis, I mean, I know she would tell you in her own words, but like, she likes to say she's never regretted having sex with me. So even if she's not like completely, maybe like her body is not cooperating in a way that she's turned on, like she kind of gets herself there.
Okay.
If that makes, am I doing this justice?
Yeah. I mean, I'm attracted to you. You're my husband.
Well, that's good to hear.
I know, right? There's a long list of reasons that I'm attracted to you. And so having sex is a desirable thing. Yes, to Diane's point, there are times when I'm tired at the end of the day and you bring it up and I'm just kind of like, I mean, it wasn't my first thought, but yeah, let's have sex. And then never have I ever regretted that decision.
Yeah. And I think if we're completely honest too, I mean, men sometimes will be at the same place, right? I mean, we might have sex 3 or 4 days in a row. And, I mean, I'm just telling you, I mean, there's been times and Amos is like, hey, let's have sex again on day 5. And I'm kind of like, man, I don't know. It's kind of late. Like maybe let's go to bed. Right. But I think you still try to be there for, your spouse if you can be. So men who say they're like, they want to have sex 5 times a day, 7 days a week. Like, I don't really buy it. I mean, maybe there's some guys out there that have way higher sex drive than I have. And I feel like I have a pretty high one. So, it happens to men too.
But I think as a woman, if you're with your spouse and you're attracted to him, you're going to desire him. So sex it shouldn't be like something that you have to do. It should be something that you want to do. And if it ever reaches that point, you're just not prioritizing your marriage over all the other things in your life.
Yeah. And Diane, you're not married. Is that true?
I'm not married.
Okay.
No.
Cool. Yeah.
I've been proposed to several times, but I've just never.
I've seen you mention that before.
Yeah, I've never thought like, yeah, this is definitely what I want. I'm very I don't know. The idea of like a commitment that goes that long is just like, I don't know. I'm not psychic. I don't know that I can make a promise like that, right? Like I don't have any tattoos because I don't know that I'll like it for the rest of my life. So,
Yeah.
like, I do
I,
believe that
I
that is a very serious promise, and that if somebody is to make it, they should really mean it and not be, considering divorce or whatever. So, yeah,
yeah.
I've never gone there.
I, I think actually, I think that's kind of refreshing to hear because I think there is a lot of women that maybe a lot, maybe I shouldn't, sometimes I say a lot and it's not really true, but right, there are women out there that they're just like, they get married and they're like, yeah, if it doesn't work out, let's get divorced. Right. But it's good to hear that you're in a place where you're like, hey, this is a really serious thing. If I'm going to
Yeah.
do it, it is a lifelong commitment. And,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I mean, we need more of that, honestly.
Yeah.
So I can kind of appreciate where you're coming from there. So there's a bunch of dudes out there running around with broken hearts because they were like, you're like, no, not going to marry.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just
maybe.
own that, Diane. Say yes. Say yes.
It's possible.
I'm a catch that nobody can catch. That's what you should be saying here.
No, people are always like, no, men are the ones who control commitment. And I'm like, are they though? I feel like that's a joint decision. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, I mean, obviously I think before marriage, I mean, both people have to want to do it, right? You can't force
Sure.
someone to marry you. I mean, I guess in some cultures
Right.
they do, but ideally you're not forcing someone, and who really wants to at the end of the day either,
Right.
like, I don't think you're going to have a great marriage if you're
Right.
in a marriage that one of the parties didn't want to be in.
Has to be
You
a
know?
project you really both believe in, so you can put your all into it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an active choice. Wake
Yeah,
up every day and decide to have a good marriage.
absolutely.
Oh.
I agree with you guys.
Yeah. So you think you ever will get married?
I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah. So what? Well, I have no idea how old you are, and I'm not going to ask you if you don't want to tell me. But I'm curious because I know this is one of the hot topics. So I mean, we talk about like the biological clock ticking, and women are no good after 30, and all these other things. I don't necessarily. I mean, the biological side, like I understand where that comes from, and I know that is like a real thing. Like women's eggs are actually diminishing as they get older, and all that.
Sure.
I don't come at it from the point of view that women have no value after that age. I mean, I think if kids aren't important to you, I think a woman would have plenty of value, right? I mean, she can still be something very attractive. Now, I understand if you're wanting kids, maybe there's something, to say, doing it younger. But
Yeah,
I'm just
absolutely.
curious, what is your point of view on that? Being someone, again, I don't know how old you are unless you want to tell me. But
I'm quite old enough to not be answering that question. But
okay, we'll go with that. But you're at least of the age that I think these men would say, yeah, like you're past your prime.
Oh yeah. They're I mean, all the time guys are, they're like, oh, empty egg carton, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay.
I see that meme.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Like, here's the thing. I don't believe that a lot of these guys. I mean, if your primary purpose in getting married is to have kids and like biological kids with the person you married, then yeah, I think that is a real that is a real consideration. Age of your wife, and it's not impossible, but it does get harder, past a certain age. I completely agree with that. But at the same time, I don't get the feeling that these guys who are posting images of, like empty egg cartons are genuinely like in it for the kids, right? They're not genuinely like, oh, the reason I want to get married is because I so want to have a bunch of kids, right? Because I asked them the question, I'm like, okay, so what if you could have kids but no sex? This is just IVF. You're married to, a very good mother who will have your children, but there's absolutely no sex. It's just IVF. Do you still want it? They're like, hell no. And it's like, all right, well, there you've answered. Like, it's not about the kids then. The kids are maybe a secondary perk for you, but I think most guys admit that primarily what they get married for is, it's a subscription sex service. It's like Netflix for sex, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, I think that was kind of our experience in a way too. I mean, we have 3 kids. I mean, we love them to death, right? But like the kid, like that was not the purpose of us getting married, right?
Right.
I mean, we were just having lots of sex and having fun, and like, oh well, hey, this biological thing happens where she gets pregnant when we do that, So we were popping out kids, that happening. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I was not, at least not at the age. I don't. maybe as men get older, this is a thing that I haven't personally experienced because we got married so young, but I can certainly tell you at the age I was in my 18, 19-year-old, and we're getting together, like, I was not like, oh, I need a wife because I got to get a family going, right? No, it was like,
No.
no, yeah,
No.
I like having sex with this chick, and I
Yep.
like
Yeah.
to keep that going.
We're doing everything we can to prevent starting a family.
Yes,
right.
especially that time. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. So I
So-
thought that was really funny when I was like, all right. If you're so worried about, the continuation of Western civilization, well, how about this? IVF kids, no sex. What do you think? And they're like, no, hell no. Why would I sign up for that? It's like, all right, then just admit it. You're like, this is about the sex. This isn't about your concern about the, the continuation of the species or whatever.
Right.
Stop
Right.
lying.
Yeah.
Stop lying.
I think men that are honest about it, I mean, that's what they should say. It's about the sex, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to kind of solve these marriage problems when you're actually having the real and honest conversations, right?
Yeah. I think children as a additional benefit. Some men do have that in mind,
Of
but
course,
not
of
all
course.
men.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And nothing, I mean, I look, I mean, now that we've had kids and I would not trade that experience for the world. And knowing now what I know, I'd be like, oh yeah, absolutely. Let's have kids.
Mhm.
If I go back and talk to my, 18, 19-year-old self, I'd be like, yeah, this is something you definitely want to do. It's not at the time, wasn't something I knew. You only know what you know.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. Well, all right. So kind of maybe leapfrogging from that topic of men are getting married for sex. Let's talk about the duty sex topic, because I know you have a lot to say on that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's talk about it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe it's just my particular corner of X, and maybe the men there are especially sad and desperate. But the way that they talk about sex within a marriage just makes it sound so completely undesirable. They'll just say like, oh, what's the big deal? You can just lay there for 10 minutes. I do stuff I don't want to do all the time, like taking out the trash. It's like, excuse me, did you just compare having sex with you to taking out the trash? And that's supposed to make me want to do it? Like, what's wrong with you, man? Or they'll get all pouty and they'll be like, well, fine, if she doesn't want to have sex with me, then I don't want to do my job anymore. I don't want to take showers anymore. I'm not going to do the dishes anymore. It's like, do you hear yourself? As if sex is like a reward. You're a good kid. You've done your chores. Here's your sex. Like, this is awful. How can you
I mean, we
make
don't,
your wife
chore
want
play
that when you
is not
talk
a
about
thing.
it that way, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Couples should not be partaking in chore play. I mean, that is not a
right.
thing. I think, I mean, to me, where this discussion really revolves around is, men who are legally married, you know, and I know you have thoughts on this too, but men who are legally married who they feel almost trapped in a way, right? They're not technically trapped, right? I mean, anybody in our country
can get divorced, etc.
Right? But there may be financial consequences to that.
Sure.
If you have kids, there's gonna be emotional consequences. There's things, right? There are consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel trapped in their marriage per se. And so, when that sexual energy is kind of gone in their marriage, and they're like, I think that's really what's kind of being talked about, but we're not always using the language as honestly as we should, because that's really what's happening.
Right.
Because these men, if they weren't worried about divorce, they would just go out and get a girlfriend or go see a prostitute, whatever it is they're going to do for sex. But if they do that, they're worried their wife is going to go, uh-oh, no, you're a cheater. I'm pulling that divorce lever now.
Right.
And that's really, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, because I would agree with you. I mean, I don't think we don't really want duty sex from our wives, right? That's not sexy. That's not like,
right.
That's not fun to me. Like I want someone who actually wants to enjoy having sex with me, right? That's good for both of us. But for the men who feel kind of trapped, that's where that's coming from.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think men don't really realize that it's actually fairly common for women to, over time have less interest in sex because, hormonal changes and, just like the added stress of maybe young kids running around or, job stressors or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, it's easy for the men to say like, oh, well, sex is on my mind 78% of the day. So, since it's so important to me, then it should be very important to you too. And it's like, I mean, you can really make that argument about anything, right? Like, say the wife wants an Hermes bag, she wants a Birkin, she's thinking about it all day. Does that make it his responsibility to spend like $25,000 to buy her a purse? I mean, most men would say like, hell no, right? So, so I don't know. I think that like once you're married.
I push back on the desire fades over time. I mean, if you're both putting your marriage first and prioritizing that relationship, it shouldn't be fading. Yes, hormones can play a role, but even that can be corrected with enough knowledge and just
where we're coming at it from, I think is like you're putting in the effort to try to not let those things happen. Like it's not that those things don't happen. We know they happen, right? And I agree with you that it does happen, but why and what can you do to prevent it?
Well, so
it's not inevitable.
I also disagree with the idea that like, if that desire fades from one end or the other, that it's necessarily the problem, that it always needs to be at the level that it was when you were 19 or whatever. Like, I think that there's like a pathologization of the, lower sex drive partner a lot of the time. And it's like, but why? Because what if you could help the higher sex drive partner just not be so sex obsessed? Then, they could free their brain up to do other things with that. Like if you're thinking about sex like every 3 minutes, couldn't you be using your brain for something more useful? I mean, if you're, aiming to have kids, perfect. Then that's a great thing to have that sex drive to always be like, oh, let's try, right? But if you're not trying to have kids, then I don't really see a reason for it to be a huge part of a couple's life. Like it's just another hobby.
It's a nice hobby, though. I mean, if we're
it can be. It can be if you're both into it, right? Like, but if one person's like, I'm not really feeling it, then what can you do?
Yeah, but I think Diane, just something. Men and women, like how the sex is different, right? And I'm a man, so I can speak from a man point of view. But for a man, the best analogy I ever heard of it described is like this rubber band that's stretching and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And the tighter that rubber band gets, like it's just more like what you were talking about. Like I can't stop thinking about sex, right? It's like I just something's got to relieve that tension, which is sex, And as soon as that tension gets released, it's like rubber band goes back. There's no tension on it. You're good for a bit. And then, it's going to start stretching tighter and tighter and tighter again. Versus women, my understanding of women is it's more like the more sex they have, the more sex they want to have. But it's not in that's what's really driving them to have more sex. I don't know if I'm explaining this well or not, but.
Yeah. I mean, the longer a woman goes without sex, the least amount that she wants it. I'm not saying those words right either.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's
the more sex a woman has, the more sex a woman craves. And I think if you're really like, if you're looking at sex properly inside a healthy marriage, like at the end of the day, when a woman is at the end of her rope, having her man like give her some mind-blowing sex, like that is some stress relief.
Yeah. It's like the reset button.
Yeah. I mean, so I think a lot of women get it twisted, right? Like, oh, it's just another thing I have to do. Just another thing on my list, but it's not. And sex is so dynamic. I mean, sometimes, yes, one of you will have a better time than the other one. A lot of times you're having an equal amount of fun, but sometimes it can be better for one than the other if one of you needs more than the other that day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So right?
I don't know, maybe. I'm not sure.
Where did I've actually never heard this result. Where did you see the finding that women, the more they have sex, the more they want to have sex? That's interesting. I just didn't know about that. Or is it just like personal experience or friends?
I mean, personal experience, yes, but I think it's well well
I mean, almost
documented.
a lot
It's
of
a
women we
documented
talk to
fact.
say that same
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's,
I don't
yeah.
have a
Okay.
specific place to point you
Okay.
because I
Okay.
don't know.
The rubber band analogy I used, I think that was men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that
Okay.
I read that in,
Mhm.
which made sense. But kind of to what you were saying about like, well, can a man just like let's take that energy and so let him just focus on something other than sex? And what I'm saying to you is for men, it's very hard the tighter that rubber band gets, right? He's like, I need this rubber band released so I can think about stuff other than sex.
Mm-mm. And then another thing that I found was interesting that is that like it seems that people imagine that after a man gets married he like loses his hands, like he's no longer able to give himself any release, you know, like because he
Yeah.
has a wife, that's her job, so his hands no longer
What-
work for that,
what-
or she prevents it
Yeah.
or something
Well,
like that. I feel like, you
we're
know,
on the same. Yeah.
if your wife
I'm
isn't
on the
able to
same page with you
perform,
there.
she should probably just let you like take care of yourself, you know.
Sure. We're on the same page there. I mean, I don't think a wife should be controlling her man's sex drive.
No.
Right. I mean, I think you got a problem if you do that. But again, kind of going back to the trap that some men feel they're in, there are wives out there that are like, oh, if you're masturbating, like you're, again, not all wives. I don't want to group all wives into this, right? Not all wives are this way. There's all kinds of different women out there. But the men who, you know, maybe you are hearing kind of being the loudest about this duty sex topic is, you know, they may very well be married to one of these wives. They're like, no, like masturbating, like, no. You know, they're trying to control their husband's sex drive, and like there's no porn use. And again, I'm not advocating for porn.
So
right?
it's like maybe religious based or something like that.
Maybe religious based, sure. Some of it's religious based for sure, right? So, you know, that's why I tend to kind of have some empathy for the men in some of these situations because they literally, it's like they don't know what to do. You know, not that there aren't things they can do. There are things they can do, but they don't know what to do. And that's why this duty sex topic comes up. Is because it's like, oh, I'm not allowed to have any kind of sex or my wife might divorce me and that's going to cause me a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that they come at it from this perspective of like entitlement, which I mean I understand why they feel that way because they are married and so they can't really have sex with other people, and then the one person that in their mind is supposed to is contractually obligated to provide them with sex is not really all that interested, at least not as much as they are. So they feel like they've been I don't know, like bait and switched or something like that. But the thing is that you can feel that way and it can be 100% legitimate in your head, and it can also be true that it's completely unhelpful to come to your wife with that kind of energy, right? Like we got married, so you owe me, so I'm gonna pout, so I'm not gonna take out the trash, so I'm just gonna stop doing things for you until you start doing things for me. And it just becomes adversarial. It becomes like, here's another kid she has to deal with, and that's completely unsexy, right? Like, I mean, I guess my perspective on the duty sex thing is like, you have two choices. If you want to stay in that marriage, you can find a way to make your wife want sex with you. I don't know how to do that. Every woman is unique, right? So you're married to her. You should have some ideas. Try that. Or you can just deal with it. Those are your choices. What other choices do you have if you want to stay in the marriage, right? Like, you pouting at her certainly isn't going to work, is it?
No.
Do you want to be a rapist?
I agree.
Like, what do you want to do?
I'm not an advocate for going to your wife and pouting or begging for sex.
Like whining.
I don't think that's doing anything to help your marriage in the long run. And if you're right. I mean, if it's not, you're not turning her on doing that. Now, I would say, I mean, what I would say is a man in that situation, like I would personally not hesitate from having a difficult conversation on the topic.
Sure.
And maybe saying to my wife, hey, look, like, you know, I understand you don't want sex, whatever, you're not attracted, whatever it is, right? For whatever reason, you don't want to have sex. I still want sex. Mm-hmm. So like, here's the reality of the situation. Like, I'm either going to go masturbate, I'm going to go have an affair, I'm going to have whatever. Right. And I, you know, I don't think you should be like, people don't go out and cheat on your spouse behind their back. Like, that's not cool. I don't care what condition your marriage is in. You shouldn't be doing all that, but have the hard conversation is what I would say. You know, and I think, I personally think women would be actually more responsive to that, rather than coming and saying like, oh my gosh, I need to have sex. Will you please have sex with me? Right. And like kind of
Right.
begging for it,
Right.
rather than just kind of taking the lead and saying, hey, you know what? That's cool. You don't want to have sex, but here's the consequences. Here's what I'm going to do. You know,
Okay.
and then I actually think you're going to get a better response out of that. And, you know, and if your wife is like, hey, you know what? That's cool. I don't have sex with you. Go have sex with, you know, the chick you met at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think usually when that happens, sometimes like people open up their marriages, but you know, like I think the risk there is, you know, if he's allowed to go and have sex with random people, then she is too, and he doesn't like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you don't have a marriage. You don't have a marriage at that point. Really.
Right. Like if you're gonna open up the marriage, honestly, like you can ask your wife for that, but 9 times out of 10, when you open up your marriage, the wife gets like 5 times more play at least than the husband. So he's even less happy because he's not getting sex from his wife, but now she's also getting banged by like 5 other guys, right?
Right.
And he's probably having trouble getting anything, getting a girlfriend himself. Usually, not in all cases, but like, you know, 9 times out of 10, I'd say, when people go for an open marriage.
But that should also tell something to the man. Like if that is how it plays out, that the wife didn't want to have sex with him, she's like she's just not interested in sex, and then he's like, well, let's have an open marriage, and suddenly she's going to having sex with a bunch of dudes. Okay, well, it wasn't that your wife didn't want to have sex; it's just she didn't want to have sex with you.
Still wanted to have sex.
Right? She didn't want to have sex with you.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, that's the reality of what's happening there. So, I mean, as much as you hate to say it, I mean, you either get out of the marriage, right? I mean, those are your options. So,
I mean, I understand that like a lot of guys feel that way, but it doesn't bother me personally. Like if a guy that I am in love with and married to is just like, you know, I've gone off sex and I don't know if I ever want to have sex again, I'd be like, all right, that's fine. It's not a big deal to me personally. I know that I don't speak for anybody else. To me personally, it's about as important as like any other average hobby, you know, like it's a fun way to spend your time. But all in all, over the course of a lifetime, you're not going to spend that much of your time with your spouse actually having sex, right? Like, I mean, even the most sexually active couples probably aren't spending more than a few hours per week actively having sex, right? Or, I mean, probably.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what number I'd put on it. Yeah. I mean,
in the limit, I believe a good marriage is just like a long conversation. It's not at all about, you know, it's not about sex, I don't think, in the long run.
Yeah, but I think, I mean,
unless your goal is kids, right?
Well, but without the sex, do you have a marriage? I mean, it's a big part of the connection.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's a big male-female difference, right? Like,
but like you're talking about sex, like it's a singular activity. But if we expand it out into like the foreplay, or let's dumb that down into just like flirting, right? Like that sexual energy is how you communicate to your husband or your wife that you still desire them, you still find them sexy and attractive, and they still, you know, turn you on. Like it's the subtle touches or the dirty text that you send in the middle of the day while they're at work. I mean, it's like it keeps the fire burning, you know.
It's the tension, is building the tension part of the sexual process.
Yeah. So sex isn't, I mean, it is, but it isn't just like a singular act of however long it takes to, you know, have a good time, let's say. Right? It's like, it's an all-encompassing attitude towards your husband of, hey, I find you sexy and attractive and I'd like to have sex with you tonight. Like, here's a dirty text while you're at work. I hope you're thinking about me because I'm thinking about you, right? So like,
yeah,
it's not just a singular act that you can say, okay, I'm fine without that. Because if you have no sexual tension or desire, how are you not just roommates?
Oh, well, I don't know. I think in my mind, there's a lot that is part of romance that has nothing to do with sex. But I don't know. Maybe again, I'm just like an odd sort of
building
person.
The sexual tension, though?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. Like, for example, I can tell you one of the most romantic things that I recall ever happening to me. It's not sexual at all, so don't worry, it's G-rated.
Okay.
So I was in college, and it was like I was walking to class, and it started raining really suddenly. It was just this huge downpour. I was like, great, I'm gonna look like a dead cat when I walk into the class. I'm gonna be dripping. And then suddenly there was no rain, and I looked up, and there was like an umbrella, right? And there's this guy standing next to me holding the umbrella, and he was like, hi, I recognize you from, this party that we'd both been at like months ago. He told me his name, and it was a music and story night where I'd played like some Beethoven piano piece. And he was like, I remember you. You're Diane, right? You played this piece. And it was just so it was so moving to me, because like you just get the phrasing and the emotions exactly correct, and I still remember it. Like, it sends chills down my spine. And that was probably the most romantic thing that ever happened to me. It had nothing to do with sex. He wasn't trying to have sex with me. Like, we didn't even really know each other. We weren't friends. I mean, we like talked on and off from that day on, but no, like he wasn't trying to do anything with me. It was just, but I found it extremely romantic, and I don't think that was his goal. He just like wanted to share with me how he felt like moved by a piece of music that I had performed.
What? So actually, I'm learning something about you. So, are you a pianist or what?
Oh no, I mean, I, like a lot of Asian kids, was put in piano classes,
Okay.
and so I play,
like
but I'm not at all professional. Yeah, it's a hobby.
Gotcha.
It's a hobby. Yeah.
But what do you mean by romance? Because it's when you say that, like what I hear is like, to me, romance is like it's building that sexual tension. But I feel like you're defining it differently somehow, and I'm not sure I'm grasping what you mean by it.
Yeah. So I probably, like, different people have different ideas of romance, and I think a lot of men especially have this idea that like romance is the bullshit you do to get sex, right? So building sexual tension or whatever. But like, I guess the things that I find romantic are, I think every person wants to be seen and really understood, like down to the level of their soul. Like to have somebody understand what it is that's important to you, and also, reflect that back to you is a very powerful thing. And I think feels like really romantic. For example, if somebody, remembers you months later, and they were moved by you in some way, and they tell you about that, I find that very romantic.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment.
Even if it has nothing to do with sex. He wasn't like, oh, give me your number. Oh, can we meet up later? It was nothing. He walked me to class, and that was it. Like,
you're saying someone just appreciated you for you in a non-sexual context.
There was no, there was no, like, there was not a goal there. I mean, maybe it's possible he was attracted to me, but like, there was no like push for, a date or push for a sexual encounter or anything like that. He just like, he was telling me something genuine about his experience, which also meant a lot to me, right? So I found that to be a sort of romantic bit of connection there, just between two people. And I don't know, if he'd immediately followed it up with like trying to have sex with me, I think that would actually make it less romantic.
You would have remembered it differently.
Right. Like if he, it's like, wow, okay, you're a really smooth operator. I see your game. You've got a good game. But like, if it feels like that's your immediate goal, then to me that actually tarnishes it. It doesn't, it makes it less romantic if like clearly the goal is like, okay, but I just want to have sex with her. All right, what kind of bullshit do I need to say to her to get her in bed? Like, it's not romantic at all. It's just like, in some sense, manipulative,
Yeah. Okay. That helps me understand where you're coming from a little better. Yeah. I guess I had never really thought about it. Like I said, the word romance to me is like, it's building sexual tension. But to hear it in the way that you're talking about it, I can kind of understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. So I think, it's probably a more male-female difference. Like, I don't know that a male gives a shit about stuff like that. They just want, mostly they just want, regular sex. But I think for women, it feels just really amazing to be seen in that way,
Yeah, I think I can separate the difference between sexual romance and just general, like, I feel seen romance.
Yeah.
I can see a distinct difference there.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly not everything that you do for me that I find romantic is to have sex.
No.
No,
Just kidding.
No.
no. Yeah. I mean, I'm getting a little bit of understanding where you're coming from.
Or there's like
it's
also
because
there
you
ways.
care about me.
Yeah, exactly. There are also like a lot of ways to show you care about someone that isn't at all building up of sexual tension. Like for example, if you have a really long day, you're going to be out for 12 hours, and then your spouse just makes you a lunch that has like all of the little things that you might need, a little can of coffee for later in the day, a few little snacks, homemade, I don't know, spaghetti or something, and everything's in there, little cooler pack. They really thought of you. Like I feel like that's really romantic. That's a way to show you care, and it's not like got anything to do exactly with sex, I don't think. Right? Like it's not a reminder that somebody like sexually wants you.
On the flip side, I'm a woman, and I am, instead of this boy, I do all of the same things. I see you, I provide the umbrella, I tell you that your piece really touched me. Is that romantic? Because I'm a girl and you're a girl, so is that falling into the romantic realm, or is it only romantic because he was a man providing you with this protection and appreciation?
I mean, kind of, but I mean, I'm also non-standard. I've dated girls, so I probably am not the person to ask about that.
Gotcha.
Like
sure.
I would also find that romantic.
That would also be, and that's a fair statement, because I can appreciate that.
Yeah,
that's a fair statement.
So I'm not. You probably want to ask like a straight person whether they like a fully just I would not consider dating the same sex. Then maybe their answer would, sort of tease apart what you're trying to get at better than asking me.
Yeah. Was he attractive? Maybe I should have said if he was really ugly.
Okay, so by the incel standards, like not particularly, right? He wasn't tall. He was maybe like 5'6" or 5'7", right? He wasn't built at all. He wasn't like jacked. He didn't work out. He was like thin and pale and kind of nerdy looking. I thought he was cute. I thought he was cute. He was cute to me. I thought he, like no problem.
Yeah. Okay, it's attractive to you.
But like according to incel math, like no, I think he'd be mid or below for the incels.
Okay.
Right, and so like he was also in school with me. He was also in school at the same time, so it's not like he was rich or whatever. All these things that the incels say make a man attractive to a woman. He wasn't really any of those. He was just like, a normal looking guy, and a little on the thin and nerdy side. But that's the some women's
rich in resources. He had an umbrella, and
he had an umbrella. That's right, absolutely. He provided protection from the rain.
Exactly. Rich is what do you call it? Subjective, or
absolutely
by the moment?
Yeah, it depends on what resources you need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, so
interesting.
Well, all right. So let's talk about the incel topic a little bit, maybe, or maybe not the incel topic, but the Chad, right? That's what we're talking about, right? Sure. Is that they're like, you got to be 6 foot, you got to be 6 figures, all that stuff, like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you kind of push against that, and Diane, I mean, I would like, I'm 5'9.5", arguably,
sure.
I'm not like whatever. I mean, I've had a successful marriage, all this stuff, right? So I don't necessarily buy into that,
right?
But that is what is said a lot of times, right? But clearly, it's not true, because there's plenty of men that are less than 6 foot that do just fine.
I think most women just want a man who is like taller than she is. They might put that, they might put that on the filter, or they might say it, but if they actually meet a guy and they really get along well and she likes all the other things about him, I don't think the fact that he's like 5'10" is going to really stand in her way. You know what I mean? She's not there with a tape measure like, hey man. It's not I don't think it's as strict a rule, I guess, but maybe if you really don't have anything else going on for you, if you have just absolutely no personality, then maybe like you gotta have something. You gotta be tall or rich or really hot, or I don't know what. But I mean, you can just just like women. You can just try to talk to them like they're human beings. The thing is, a lot of these incels, they have this resentment towards women, and I think a lot of us can feel that like from a mile away, right? So like if you're trying to date me and at bottom how you feel is I don't care about a single goddamn thing that comes out of her mouth. I'm just waiting for the sex. Like, I can feel that. I'm not completely stupid. I think a lot of women can just feel that, a person's not really interested in doing or doing anything with them or talking to them. They're really just like waiting for the moment when they can get some sex. And it's like, no thanks.
Yeah. But you would agree. I mean, there are women that are happy just to have like a one night stand kind of thing, right? Like, hey, I find you very attractive. Like, I'm going to have sex and, move on. Right. So,
oh, yeah. I mean, so I think that's actually a pretty common misconception that like women are looking at for like the hottest guy possible to just have a one night stand with. I think they're just like, whatever's convenient, yo. Tonight, I'm just, like, I don't I did poorly on my finals, or I didn't get that promotion. I'm gonna go get some drinks and I'm gonna just like have a one night stand with whoever's available. Maybe it's a dude at the bar, maybe it's a guy that you swiped on today, whatever. I think that that's also a very common case. I don't think that a woman is going like, wow, this is the hottest possible guy I've ever seen in my life, but like I don't care if I never see him again. I just want to have sex with him one time. No way. No way. If I found like the hottest guy I've ever seen in my life, I'm trying to lock that down. I'm not trying to throw him away on one night of like perhaps mediocre sex because we just met each other, right? Like I really want to do everything in my playbook to keep that man in my life so I can keep looking at him because he's so goddamn hot, right? Like this is an analogy I like to use. So like, do you care more what your house looks like that you're going to spend 60 years in? Or do you care what your hotel room looks like that you're going to spend one night in? Which one do you care about more? Right? Right? Like the idea that a woman would like to marry a guy that she finds kind of like gross looking, but she would like to have one night of sex with a guy that's super hot just doesn't make any sense, does it? Like, why wouldn't she want to lock down that really hot guy? Why wouldn't she want him for like 60 years instead of this like kind of mediocre looking dude?
I think this gets into they talk, and again, like I'm not the like red pill expert.
No, it's fine. Yeah, you can just tell me what they're saying.
I've had just the only exposure I've really had to since we've been on X has been about 2 years, so it's still a topic I'm still learning a lot about.
Sure.
I know it's kind of said that women they'll marry a provider, right? Okay. Like whoever's going to provide well, and we know someone who was kind of she was divorced. She ended up marrying a guy that she would like openly talk about. Like, hey, I just don't really find this guy that attractive, but he's a good provider. He's she had 2 kids. She's like, he's taking care of my kids, doing all this other stuff.
Sure.
Right? So it does happen.
Sure.
What was interesting in that case is he ended up leaving her.
Okay.
Which was surprising to us because I thought for sure that she would, I guess I was
cheat on him or something.
Cheat on him, something, right? She wasn't really attracted to him, but that's not what ended up happening. He ended up cheating on her and leaving her. So kind of blew my mind a little bit. But that sort of does happen.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. I'm not saying that like women are perfect angels or anything, but to me it just makes more sense like that, in general, of course not in every single case, but in general that a woman would want to be with, the hottest guy that she can possibly be with if she's going to be with him long term. I don't know that she would want to wake up every day and be like, why'd I marry this guy? Is she a masochist, right? Like, why would she sign herself up for that? I guess like the I don't know, red pill manosphere or whatever would probably say, oh, well, she couldn't lock down that really hot guy, right? She couldn't lock him down. She couldn't get him interested in a relationship. And I think that, that definitely happens too. And that's why my advice to women is like, if you're serious about a guy, don't just hop right in bed with him because like he's probably going to just discard you and think like, what's wrong with this person? She probably has a really high body count. She's probably a hoe. She's not wife material. So like, if you're really into a guy, you think he's really hot, like really just take your time and get to know him, right? Like what's wrong with that? If he discards you because like you don't have sex with him soon enough, then, like, that's his goal, and he probably is going to discard you either way. So no big loss except your dignity, right? You keep your dignity intact. You don't like, waste a night on him and your feelings on him when he's just going to like ditch you anyway.
Yeah. I think, everybody's a little bit different. Right. And I think, as I hear you talking, like, I'm sure, I mean, I believe you. I mean, this is the way that you think about it. Right. And
Sure.
And I'm sure there are other women that think about it the same way too, but then there are women that aren't thinking about it that way. Right. And they're just like, hey, I'm just out here having sex with the hottest guy I can and whatever. So, and I think that adds confusion to this whole topic.
Sure.
Too.
I mean, I do think that like there are probably a good amount of women who, they hope that maybe they can like use sex to lock him down or whatever. And then when that doesn't work, then, they get kind of upset about it. And I think, that's kind of predictable though. I don't know. Like, I think a lot of guys, especially the hot guys, are really just they're they're in it for the sex, right? So you can't really weed those guys out unless you take a little bit of time to get to know about them and their intentions first. And if they're like, they don't really care about you as a person, then, you're not going to have that long-term potential anyway. So there's no reason to just be hopping in bed with him, I guess, unless you are also interested in just like a one night or short-term thing, like genuinely, right? Not lying to yourself, but.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, hearing you talk, and I think a lot of things you're saying are, and like I said at the beginning too, and being very taking marriage very seriously, and kind of what you're saying now. I mean, I feel like, the guys are going to watch this podcast if there's any single guys out there, and they're going to be saying, why am I not trying to wife up Diane Yap? Right?
She's
might make a pretty good wife.
She's a raging femcel. You know what? This is really funny, but actually, like, I don't give any clue about this on X, but there are a lot of things about me that are like extremely trad. Like, I'm a pretty good cook. Like I'm really, really good with money. I think I've mentioned it, but I'm extremely good with money. So like if somebody wants me to handle like the investments and whatever, I can outperform the S&P probably, so yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of like, you just don't want to be married right now, I think is what it is. I mean, I
hasn't found one.
I could see you being an attractive choice for a guy. Just having.
Oh, that's very.
I'm sure a lot. I
appreciate that.
We're having a 50-minute so far conversation here, so like I'm sure there's tons I don't know about Diane.
Yeah,
just what we're saying here. Like, I could see you being decently wife material, and you're bisexual. A lot of guys would love that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
That's a plus.
And I'm also very like open-minded about like stuff, like, for example, I don't know if you're familiar with autogynephiles, AGP, like the men who like to dress up as women.
What is that?
AGP, it's like autogynephilia. It's guys who like to dress up as women.
Okay. I would call that like a transvestite.
Yeah, like a transvestite, right? They get turned on by like putting on women's clothes and like pretending to be women. And it's like, I'm down. Go ahead, borrow my clothes. I got so many cute skirts. Go to town, man. Like, have fun. Do what you like. I don't care. So I don't know.
I mean, but would you really find that attractive? Because I just can't see.
Oh man, you know what? Personally, I think that the average like skinny guy's legs look so much better in my mini skirts than my own legs, which are kind of like I don't know. I'm not like fat, but I find my legs just kind of like too thick, like I don't find them nice. I like how supermodels look, and thin men are much more likely to look like supermodels when wearing little short skirts. You see what I'm saying? Like they have those nice, like long, thin legs.
Oh man, I just had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to give people a little better idea of where your takes are coming from, I think.
Like I'm such a weirdo, right? It's fine.
I mean, hey, you've got some different views, I think, than I've heard before. This is,
sure.
I don't think we've had anybody on the podcast that have had these sorts of views before.
Not that has communicated it openly, anyways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
own all sorts, right?
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, hey, no shame here. We don't shame people. That's something we don't do here. But Yeah. Well, I know I want to keep this close to about an hour, but
No, no
what do
problem.
you, what are you, let me ask you this. So, I mean, let's go back to the marriage topic. So
Sure.
what delusions do you think people have about marriage?
I don't know. I don't know that the delusion is the right word, but maybe they just have these like wishful thinking sort of expectations that that maybe the honeymoon phase lasts forever. And I think that happens on both sides, right? Like that women believe that the amount of like sweetness and attentiveness and the amount of like wanting to do stuff with her, focus on her, whatever, will maybe continue forever. And maybe men believe that like the same amount and passionate sex is going to happen throughout the entire marriage. And I don't know, these things I believe naturally drop off over time and without effort to like keep it from happening. A lot of cases,
That's the
a lot
key.
of life just
I
gets
agree
in the
without
way.
effort.
Right? Like without effort,
Yeah.
it just kind of tends to, you feel more secure. You feel like, okay, I've done my performing to get my permanent mate, and now I don't have to do that anymore. People, they like indulge more in their bad habits. They get fat, they
Yeah.
get lazy.
And I
This
think
is
men
both
and women
sides,
are
by the
both
way.
guilty.
Yeah. I
Yeah. Men and
completely
women are
agree.
both
Like
guilty of that.
they both do that, and then and then things, they don't really feel the same as they did at the beginning, and then people begin to wonder like, okay, well, what do I do now? Right? And I don't have an answer to that personally, and that's probably why I've never been married, because I don't have an answer of like, how do you come back from that? And I think that you guys have been married, was it 40 years? Sorry, I forgot.
Well, we've been married. We've been together 34 years. We've been married a
Okay,
little bit
okay.
over 30. Yeah.
Nice. Well, congratulations. So I think that actually people like you, long married couples who are like very happy and very satisfied with their married lives, have special insight that people like me just don't have. And like, I hope you will share that with the world. And I guess, yeah, like, you should talk, not me. Right. So
Yeah.
what
Well,
is your insight
from
on
your
that?
point of view.
Like, how do
Yeah.
you
Well, I mean,
keep that
I
same
think you kind of said
excitement
it.
alive, right?
Yeah, I think you kind of said it. I mean, you have to purposefully do it because I
Mm.
mean, without effort, those things are going to fade, right? I mean,
Mhm.
if you're not keeping the attraction alive, I mean, that's a big one we like to talk about is you got to keep the attraction alive. And I always like to preface that with saying within reason. I mean,
Sure.
you can't expect. I mean, Avis and you're 52, so
I am.
it's I can't. I don't reasonably expect her to look like she did when she was 20,
Sure.
right?
Of course not.
But we can still keep the attraction alive. And
She looks great, by the way.
I
I
think
would not have guessed 52.
thank
Like,
you.
you
I
look
think so
amazing.
too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I work hard.
Yeah, she does work hard. I think so too. But just you got to keep that attraction alive.
Sure.
I think that's the big thing. Within reason, be reasonable. And if you're doing that, I feel like all the other stuff kind of sorts itself out. I mean, as simplistic as that sounds, I don't really think it's any more complicated than that. It's just that if you both are desiring each other, and because the attraction is high, the desire is high, all the other stuff that comes at you is like, you're going to work it out. Like there's stuff that you can't even imagine that you're going to run into, but you work through it because the desire is there to work through it.
Yeah,
and if that attraction has been lost, then you don't have the desire to work through it. And of course things are going to be difficult, and you're not going to, you're going to get little petty things that are going to ruin your marriage because you just don't have the energy or the desire to deal with it because you're,
yeah. The idea that you're married, so you no longer have to put in effort, like, I just don't think that that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You should still be putting in effort. Like, whatever effort you put in to attract a man is the effort that you should keep continuing to put into the marriage. Because just because that's who you were and that's who you should be. Like, I always wonder, women that, like, older women, a lot of them have short hair. Like, at what age do they decide that they can just cut all their hair off, right? Like, I don't understand how this happens. Or women that wore makeup their entire lives, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, I'm married. I don't have to wear makeup anymore."
So you got to put the
that's
effort
interesting.
in. That's what it boils down to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the big secret. If people are looking for the big secret, it's work to keep the attraction alive. Put the focus on that, and everything else is going to come pretty easy. That's the easy button on marriage.
Oh, that's
I
really
don't,
interesting.
I don't, that's how we've done it.
Mhm.
I don't, I mean, maybe there's other strategies that we didn't employ, but I can tell you this has been a good one where it's like, if you're really looking to hit the easy button, this is it.
Yeah. And the hard conversations. I mean, don't let things fester. Like if something is giving you a hard time, just bring it up.
Yeah. But the goodwill is there to work through it, the hard conversation, have the
Yeah.
hard conversations with the idea that you're going to resolve whatever the issue is, because the desire is there to resolve it. That's what it boils down to. If you want to resolve it, you're going to find a way, right? Diane, you're a smart person. I know you know this, right? If you want something bad enough, you're going to figure out how to do it, right? You're resourceful. You're going to figure out what I need to do.
Yeah.
It's no different in marriage. It's the same thing. It's just people give up on each other.
I think that's a really good point. I think that the effort just needs to stay high throughout, the marriage, and it can't be like, oh, well, it's work and, I've got this person locked down, so I don't want to put in the work anymore. I want to relax, and it sounds like for the two of you, what has kept that effort going is that you've kept that mutual attraction alive to each other, that like you both obviously like take care of yourselves, work out, eat well, and stay like physically attractive to one another, and that's what keeps the effort going. Is that sort of how it works for you too?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it.
Okay.
Sure, it's a big part of it. I mean, we do try to prioritize, just keeping ourselves physically up as much as we can.
Sure.
And Diane too. I mean, people shouldn't have any misconceptions that, like, I mean, we've been together more than 30 years. I mean, certainly we have had points in our life where it's just like, maybe we're not putting in the same level of effort, and that kind of ebbs and flows a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's natural.
There's seasons, yeah.
That's
but
natural.
you're at least keeping it at a minimum level where it's like the attraction is still there, right? And I,
Sure.
I mean, I just, you probably haven't seen me say it, but I've something I've talked very openly about is, I mean, just a couple of years ago, at one point, Avis looked at me and she was like, "You're getting fat." Like, it's kind of like, you know what? But because, but to me, actually, like, I had zero like issue with that at all. I was like, "Thank you for telling me," right? Like, I got to figure out how to deal with this. Like, I see it, I see it too.
Sure.
I gotta figure out what I need to do, and how I'm going to deal with that. And so I've been, that's been something I've been working on. But
nice.
But
that's good.
Yeah, and that's just part of the hard conversations and loving one another, right? Is being able to have those conversations before you're just like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine having sex with you. You're so
right.
bad.
Don't let it get to that point.
That's not the point of marriage. The point of marriage is to be like, hey, I'm having an issue with that, or you're having an issue with this. Can we figure out how to work this out before it gets to be a problem where we dislike each other because of it?
I've had some women get very upset with me on X because I've talked openly about, like, I could look at Avis and I could be like, you need to lose 5 pounds. Right. And some women are like, oh my God, like, what? How on earth can you say that to your wife? But it's in good faith that I say it, right? Because I want the marriage, I have desired for the marriage to keep going, and I don't want to let something fester until it becomes a problem. Because if I wait until it's 50 or 100 pounds and now I've lost attraction, how much harder is that conversation going to be, and how much longer is it going to take to resolve the issue? So I don't think people, like, don't get cold feet about speaking up and having these hard conversations as early and often as they need to. You're actually doing yourself a favor.
That's funny that you even notice 5 pounds. That's crazy. I want that skill.
Rob can see a pound on me.
All right, I better put on a burqa.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Like, you don't ever want to be so unattractive to your mate that you can't, like, get naked, right? I mean,
yeah,
sure.
Well, and be willing to take it. Just like I was talking about. I mean, because I have said this to Avis over the course of our marriage, our entire marriage, like, to make sure we're keeping the attraction high. When she looks back at me and says, "Hey, you're getting a little bit fat. Why don't you do something about that?" I'm like, yeah. I mean, it okay, right? Because I expect that of you. Why wouldn't you? Of course, you expect that to me. I'm glad you spoke up, right? Speak up before it becomes a problem.
Yeah,
sure.
And it's in good faith. Like, you're not trying to hurt the other person's
of course.
feelings. You're just trying to say, hey, if we can't figure this out, this could be a problem in the long run.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Great advice.
Well, Diane, any final words? Any?
I don't think so. I've really enjoyed my time here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. I enjoyed it, and good stuff. We'll have to have back on sometime, and I'm sure we'll continue to banter on X here and there a little bit. But it's good. Yeah, I got a little better understanding of you now, so this will help me a little bit when I see Diane Yap post and kind of interpret, like because sometimes I read stuff you post and I'm like,
what's
I don't
that?
like that. Like, well, I don't like this is not good, right? But this is helping a little bit.
You can tell me. It's fine.
I will see her in the background with her. She's just stirring the pot.
She's stirring
today.
the pot. Yeah, I get that. I can appreciate that a little bit too.
I'm having fun. I hope you guys are too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, having a good time. Well, thank you so much, Diane. We appreciate it, and we'll see you around.
Great.
Thank
you. Bye.